Hey everybody, Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Methods here, back for the 10-minute version of an hour-long video I just made. I'm just really concerned that these hour-long videos don't get the views they need because people, I see an hour-long video and I go, well, I don't have time for that today. Where's the 10-minute video? So let me try to show you what I went over today in 10 minutes without any major explanations. Well, this video will lack the explanations that I think are important, so watch the 56-minute video if you get lost. But here we go. We want to be able to get through a 2-5-1 progression and understand some of these funky jazz notes. So here is the progression. And we want to understand why that works, and there's a whole lot of explanation about voice leading, about movement, and that'll be in the longer version, but that's what it actually is today. It's the yellow notes, the up the arpeggio, a change in direction to the blue notes, which is going down the scale to that green root note, and we're going to get to those chords in a second. But this is the scale that we need to know here. It's down here. So let's take a look really quick at these chords that we're talking about today. That is over here. In this diagram here, it's a 2-5-1 in the key of C. Totally basic, total great teaching set of chords for a 2-5-1. The magic progression that allows for that inside playing, outside playing, and resolution in the most basic form. So this lesson helps you learn rhythm, helps you the most basic of rhythm, helps plug you into what we're going to call the downbeat of the rhythm, because you really want to plug in to the basics if you want to try to understand this 2-5-1 stuff organically and how you can get into creating things that you understand, or be able to learn the lines of your favorite players and kind of see where they might have come up with some of this stuff. Then you can, this is going to be a great understanding. So the 2 chord in yellow, jazz grip, they're all on a similar spot of the fretboard, 10th fret, D minor, G with a flat 9. I'm not going to explain why, but it just makes it a little line cliche there. There's the explanation. And to the 1 chord in green. So from there, we move down here. We want to kind of know this little shape. This is our whole major scale here. We want to know this shape right here. Importantly, is really what we're doing today is kind of happening in that shape, and where it is all over the fretboard. And we want to know this navigation square is going to be what comes into focus here, because what this is all about is finding the half steps in between the chords. So we have the if you look at the D minor chord that we have here, we have the 7 going into the 3rd, and then we have a 7 going into the 3rd, and that creates the cool movement that we want. So you can see that some of these notes are shared, and that's pretty cool too, and can do some things at some times. But remember, these are your outside notes of a chord, are your boring notes, or they're your shell notes. They're just the crust on the outside of the sandwich. They're just, your most vanilla notes, the gut notes, the things that make a chord pretty are these 2 notes here, as you know from the power chord, are the shell. Now we add in these gut notes, you see there's the interest. Now we're giving that a sound, and if I change that interest, I can change the quality of just the same shell. I can give that shell a minor sound, and that shell, you're going to know, is the root note in the 5th. All right, so leaving that behind with the most basic explanation I can give it to make this a 5 to 10 minute video, we've got that square down here doing this. This square in our scale, our C major scale, as we know, we have this shape right here. Right, and we know we got that navigation square that we've talked about all over on this channel. And that is where the magic happens. So it actually is, it's going to happen right in something that you should already know, and hopefully already know from watching this channel. Very familiar with this. So we have this movement. Listen to this. I'm just going to play the 2 gut notes. This square contains the 3rd and the 7 of every chord movement in this, from the D to the G and the G to the C. So we have this. going to this, going to this. Check that out. You can almost hear there's different sounds in there, and they all kind of, they had something and moved to there fairly, and then moved to there, and that sounded complete. So that's movement right there. And what you just heard was the sevens moving into the threes versus like ones moving into fives and ones staying ones. It would be kind of boring. So we move from there and we go back to our line. So now we can see that we're moving up the arpeggio. That was a major third. And so we ended on that flat 7. Now at that beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, the next beat is going to be, the next downbeat is going to be into that G7 chord. So we want to be in there, and all we need is a half step to get to that 3. And that's going to sound cool, because we went from the 7 of one chord to the 3 of the other chord, the inside gut notes with only a half step. That's good voice leading. All right, so we went, and there was a change in direction, which is surprising to a listener, because we could have just kept on, we could have went, but as you can hear, that's just like walking up the stairs without falling down. There's no fun TikTok video there, right? So there's no interest. There's nothing interesting to the listener when you do that. So we got the movement of the line creating that interest. So you want to know this all over the fretboard. You want to know it here. You want to be able to sing it. Karen is a very lovely girl, right? Something like that. And when you get this down, the downbeats, then you can start messing with the rhythm. So let's hear that really quick, perfectly on the downbeat. All right, cool. So now we've got something that really plugs right into a 2-5-1. Awesome. And that's what we want, to be able to start from the training wheels and to really see where everything else that you learn, this guy's got this method and this guy came up with this and put this extra note here and blah, blah, blah. It's all kind of like doing something outside of this basic core for most intents and purposes. I mean, you can get really pretty basic. And while this is also a training wheels kind of exercise that maybe you think nobody would ever use, but, remember, jazz is about going inside and going outside and really taking some risks sometimes and really, really exploring some outside sounds. And if you do and you go way out, maybe it's going to help to come way back in with falling back to a riff like this. So you might never actually fully lose this out of your jazz kit toolbox. But anyways, here, let's do this again with a rhythm change. Me going real crazy and adding blues bends in there, and I'm sorry, I don't know why. But anyways, to keep this our 10-minute lesson with no explanations, finally we'll add in a jazz note, and I'll leave you to watch the 56-minute lesson version to know why this works. I explain it, why this sounded like it did, but let's add in our first jazz note, even though I tried to add in a couple there, just basically being a little risky and I don't know, just playing nonsense there. Here's something that's a specifically added special note. Let's see if you can hear it. See this other orange note was slid in at the end. In the beginning, I did a half step slide in there. So I did add a couple of things in there, more than I'm just trying to show you to hear. But this was this orange note, not in the scale. And that worked because we still walked into our special half step note at that right time. It was a little off the first beat, but it still works because that would be, the expected basic movement through these chords that's going to give it some movement. So, for example, if I went... It's just a little more predictable, and we're kind of crowding that note. And we've got now an extra note that we have to get. So there's some reasons that that's not going to work as well as we just eliminate that note when you use the and go right to the 7. And that's what those numbers are. You can see it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I hope that you'll watch the 56-minute version of this lesson. It should be basically the next one in line on my video playlist there. If you're just coming at this from, who knows what years from now, you'll be watching this. And, let's see how that goes. I appreciate you watching today. Like and subscribe, I guess. But see what the logger lesson has for explanations and other things. So thank you very much for watching. We will catch you later on Mind's Eye. Don't forget, of all things, Mind's Eye Visual Guitar Journey, because this is a journey. This is not a jazz pro telling you. This is a guy going from basics, pentatonics, a pentatonic bonehead. And so I'm trying to reach out to, people like me that watch 8 million lessons on how are people getting in these cooler notes. I'm feeling kind of bored in the pentatonic box. Where do these cooler notes come from? And it's just sometimes so hard because everybody's got this it's, I think, just more fun to teach an upper level, super heady, such and such scale method lesson, and nobody teaches you the basics like this. So thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you soon.